Hello, my name is Owen, and today I'm going to be doing my DIY project. The plan is to take this cassette player and make it so I can have a knob to change the speed of the cassette playback. So I went to St. Vinny's, got this used. I didn't have any tapes, so I went and I got this used at Vinny's as well. Tested it, it works. I have a soldering iron here. I also have these 9-volt battery clips, so I can use a battery to control it. I got this kit of electronics. It's got all kinds of pieces. I'm hoping the resistor, or the potentiometer here, will be what I need. And then I got a 9-volt battery. I have my screwdriver to take this apart. Yeah.
The only screwdriver I had was too big, but my partner had the great idea of using one of their hair clips to unscrew the screws, and that ended up working. Next, I had to pry the case open. This was a little trickier than I thought it was going to be. I thought once the screws were out, I could just take it out, but it took a lot of wedging open with the screwdriver and pulling it apart, but eventually I got it.
Oh.
I found where the red and black wires that make the motor run were, so I knew that's where I needed to connect my wires. Next, I connected the 2 wires from the battery connector with the 9-volt battery in to those 2 points just to test that it was actually going to make the motor spin. I needed to run 2 wires from the cassette tape to the breadboard, but I didn't have any just spare wires, so I took an extra battery connector and just cut the wires off that with just a regular pair of scissors because I don't have any wire clippers. I also don't have any wire strippers, so I just used my box cutters from work to cut off a little bit of the tubing so that I could expose the wire where I cut it. First, I tried just copying the circuit from the picture from the tutorial I was following along with, but that ended up not working. I think the person who made the tutorial was using a different kind of potentiometer, so they were able to set it up a way that worked for them, but not for me. I did some reading about how potentiometers work and tried again, but with a resistor, and that also didn't work. The motor would spin, but the potentiometer would not change the speed of it. I found a YouTube video on building a circuit with a potentiometer. I followed along with that tutorial, and after a bit of tweaking, I actually was able to get it to work. I did a bit of tweaking to the setup of my circuit just to make a little more space so it wasn't as cramped on the breadboard. Okay, so the problem is that the potentiometer only allows electricity to flow through when it's almost at the max. You can only turn it down a little bit before it'll just completely stop the motor. I think it's an issue with being a 10K ohm potentiometer. I think it needs to be lower so it doesn't resist as much electricity from going through. But I'm gonna make do with what I got. Here's how the circuit looks. I got battery going in, positive going to the center of the potentiometer, one end going out to the positive here, and then power going to the negative, which goes out to here. Next, I got a solderer. I have very little experience soldering, so this was a bit tricky, but I eventually got it. Next, I needed to find a way to have the wires come out of the cassette player while having the case closed. But I quickly discovered that without the AA batteries, there's nothing powering the speaker, so I could get the rate of the motor to change, but no sound was coming out. I've opened it back up, and now I'm gonna try it with the intended AA batteries inside to see if that will allow me to get some sound out of it. Because I'm guessing the speaker, needs to get powered so that sound comes out. Can't just power the motor. Yes! Found a way to close the case with the wire still sticking out, so I can easily put the batteries in here, because it stays together pretty well without the screws. I think it was originally glued. It's a little weird here, I think because of the wires maybe being a bit in the way, but I think it'll still be okay. Okay, here's the finished product. I'd use these hair clips to keep the wires in place because they keep wanting to pop out of the breadboard holes. But it works. Next, I wanted to try recording on a tape and playing it back. I didn't have any blank cassettes, so I just put a piece of tape over one of the holes, which allowed me to record over this tape.